Hey everybody, Happy New Year, and welcome to, I guess, the first video post for 2010. I want to touch upon a little bit something that just started this year, as well as the latest season of The Biggest Loser. And some of you may heard one of the contestants, a male, Mike, lost 34 pounds in the first weigh-in, which is amazing. That's a lot of weight, and I congratulate him for doing that. But this post is more about whether that could actually have occurred in a week. So it just seems the numbers just don't add up that a person could lose that amount of weight in 1 week. And so, again, it's great that the person did lose that amount of weight, but I think it gives a false impression for a lot of people that watch the show, and for clients, a lot of times you'll see like, oh, well, this person lost 34 pounds in a week, and how come I can't lose two or something? So I'm going to break it down, just kind of show you why, again, the numbers don't make sense. And also, this information will be written below this video post on the blog. But again, to give you some numbers to start with, Mike started 524 pounds, so quite a big individual. So certainly someone that size can lose a good amount of weight fairly quickly, because the amount of weight a person can lose is often dictated on how big they are, because their body can just burn more calories just living. So for instance, Mike's body, his BMR is a little over 4,000 calories a day, which I'll talk about again in a minute. So just to give you some numbers, 34 pounds in what would seem to be a week or 7 days. I don't know if they use a different type of calendar, but so let's just say 7 days. We'll take 10 pounds off for water weight, and that's probably a little bit of an overestimate, but just to be on the safe side. So that leaves 24 pounds, and we'll say that's 24 pounds of fat tissue. Could be also some lean tissue, but fat tissue. So each pound of fat is equivalent to about 3,500 calories. So that 24 pounds times 3,500 calories equals 84,000 calories. So that amount of deficit would need to occur during the week in order for his body to lose 24 pounds of fat. Not likely when you see the numbers that come up next. So again, Mike's BMR is just over 4,000 calories a day, about 4,100 calories a day, roughly, for his approximate height, gender, and weight. So for the week of just his BMR, just for him living, again, that basal metabolic rate doesn't include calories expended for structured exercise, that kind of stuff, is about 28,462 calories for the week, just for him living. So from there, check my notes here, that still leaves over 55,000 calories that needs to be burned or utilized somewhere during the week, and that would have to seem to come from exercise. So in order to do that, Mike would have to exercise 5.5 hours a day of moderate cycling. Is just a particular activity I picked to just give you an idea of how much activity. And so if something's a little bit more vigorous, it could be a little bit less time. But again, this person is over 500 pounds. The first week in the show, likely not in any type of cardiovascular shape. So the ability for that person to work out for long periods of time in general, and then long periods of time as a high activity level, is not likely. Now, so 5.5 hours of activity a day, and that person could have conceivably lost 24 pounds. But in this whole equation, I've allotted no calories for food intake. So zero intake for the week. And so again, person that's out of shape, over 500 pounds, is exercising 5.5 hours a day and not eating any food. Again, not likely at all. So again, and it would seem from the show, typically everybody's eating a certain amount, but we're not sure of how much. So again, not likely. It's more likely maybe over 10 or 14 days that's more likely to occur. And again, even though this is a relatively large number, this is also a very large person, so they can lose a good amount of weight, though it takes quite a bit of effort for a lot of activity as well as not eating very much at all. One of the things that really bugs myself and Matt is the lack of transparency with the show The Biggest Loser. So it's hard to find, or impossible to find oftentimes, some exact numbers of really how much the contestants eat, really how much they exercise every day, um, and really what's the real time frame between weigh-ins. How much is it really 7 days? Is it 8 days, 14 days? So I would just like it really for there to be a lot more transparency to the show. You know, again, I think it's great that people are losing weight and a number of them are keeping it off and really changing their lifestyle, which is awesome. But again, it's very misleading for the thousands or millions of people that watch a show, and then for the many clients of ours that watch a show, they get really a lot of kind of half truth information. So we really like to see some more transparency, as well as a more logical explanation of how this person could have lost that amount of weight in 1 week. You know, what really happened. And again, I just don't think it occurred in 1 week's time frame. So within that relative aspect, we looked up some research on this subject, and we did find a couple good studies. One older study in '73, I believe it was, where an obese person weighing 450 pounds to start with went on a medically supervised fast for 1 year and 2 weeks. So this person did not eat any food for over a year and lost 245 pounds in that time, which is awesome. I mean, that's a huge amount of weight. I think over half their body weight. So that's awesome, and that's just over a year. And that averaged out to 4.7 pounds a week, or about 5 pounds a week. So again, nowhere near that 34 pounds. And even if there is sometimes a slightly bigger weight loss at the beginning, again, nowhere near that number. Regrettably, that study didn't go into specifically how much per week, but the next study I talk about does. So there's a recent study that just came out in 2009, followed 5 morbidly obese people, all averaging weight of 469 pounds. So again, very big individuals. For 11 weeks, they were on a inpatient setting. So they were overseen all day, every day for 11 weeks. They ate just a little bit less than 900 calories a day, did just a little bit of exercise, 30 minutes, 1 or 2 times a week. You know, so not very much exercise. And they averaged about 7.7 pounds of weight loss per week. And they did show on a weekly basis the weight loss, and it was pretty steady at that. So again, nowhere near the 34 pounds, and all these individuals were large and a similar weight to the Mike, the contestant on The Biggest Loser. So again, from these couple studies, you know, that are very controlled, particularly the most recent study, the numbers don't even come close to what has been shown on the show. So I'm just curious of how this occurs, and again, we would just like to see some transparency. Nothing wrong with losing weight fast, relatively fast, and depending on your body weight, it can seem like some pretty big numbers. But we just want real numbers so people can get a better idea, and really what it takes to do that. You know, if it is 5 or 6 or 7 hours of exercise a day, and again, most people can't do that because they have a job. So what's realistic for them? So anyway, just want to point out that, you know, it's great for this if you watch a show, if you're aware of it, that they're losing a good amount of weight, but that there's some flaws or something's amiss of how they get to that numbers. Anyways, again, Happy New Year. Hope you've set some good SMART goals and of starting your low carb eating plan. And until next time, take care.